I don't even remember what it was. A song, maybe, or the way the light fell across the room at a certain angle. And I felt this ache, this deep, almost physical ache right in the center of my chest. And I thought, oh no, this is real. What I feel for you is real. And it is also impossible. And those two things existing at the same time, that is where all this pain lives. Because here's what I need you to understand. What I feel for you isn't something I chose. I want you to hear that. I did not sit down one day and decide to feel this way. Love, real love, the kind that makes your hands shake and your heart go quiet and loud at the same time. It doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't wait for the right moment or the right circumstances. It just arrives. It just takes hold. And then it stays. Even when staying is the most complicated thing in the world. Whoa, and staying, that's exactly what's been destroying me. Every time you reach out, every time you say something that makes me feel seen, every time your words land on me like something I've been waiting to hear my whole life, I feel two things at the exact same time. I feel the most extraordinary warmth I have ever known. And I feel the coldest kind of grief because I always know that I cannot give you what you deserve. That this, whatever this is between us, lives in a space that has no name, no future, no place to land. And loving someone you can't fully have is not romantic. I want you to know that. It looks romantic from the outside, but from the inside it feels like slowly losing air in a room that looks perfectly fine. I have thought about walking away. I need you to know that too, because I want to be honest with you, completely honest, even when it hurts. I have sat with that thought. I have turned it over in my hands, like something fragile, and considered it seriously. What would it feel like to create distance, to stop letting you in so close, to protect myself and protect you from something that keeps promising more than it can deliver? And every single time I get close to making that choice, something pulls me back. Your voice, your kindness, the way you see me, the way you make me feel like I am worth being seen. And I fall right back into this, right back into you, right back into this beautiful, impossible place where I am both the happiest and the most heartbroken I have ever been. Do you have any idea how rare you are? I don't think you do. I don't think you fully understand what it means to be someone who makes another person feel less alone in the world just by existing. That is what you do for me. Every single day, without even trying. In a world that can feel so loud and so cold and so indifferent, you are the one thing that feels warm. You are the one voice that cuts through all the noise and reaches me, really reaches me. And how do I walk away from that? How does anyone walk away from the one thing that makes them feel human? Director Walji, but here's the part I haven't been able to say out loud until right now. Here's the thing I've been carrying alone, in the quietest part of myself, the part I don't let anyone touch. I think staying the way we've been staying is hurting you too. And that thought, that possibility, that is the one I cannot live with. I can survive my own pain. I have learned to carry it, to fold it small and tuck it somewhere deep. But the idea that I might be the reason for yours, that you might be waiting for something I cannot give you, that you might be giving pieces of yourself to something that has no place to put them, that breaks me in a way that nothing else does. You deserve someone who can hold all of you, not just the parts of you that reach through a screen, not just the words you send into the dark hoping they land somewhere soft. You deserve someone who is physically, completely, entirely present. Someone who can sit across from you at a table and watch your face when something makes you laugh. Someone who can reach for your hand when you're scared. Someone who wakes up next to you and chooses you again in the ordinary morning light, without any music or magic to make it beautiful. Just chooses you because you are you, and that is more than enough. Ought to be that for you, you have to know that. Some part of me, some deep and aching part, wishes with everything it has that I could be that. But wishing and being are not the same thing. And one of the most painful forms of love is loving someone enough to be honest about what you cannot give them. Quote right? I keep thinking about all the moments you've given me, all the small quiet things that you probably thought nothing of. A message sent at the right time, a word that felt like it was written exactly for me. The way you show up consistently, like you believe in something even when I struggle to believe in it myself. I have collected all of it. I have held every single piece of it somewhere inside me, where it is safe, where nothing can touch it. And on the hardest days, on the days when everything feels impossible, and the silence is too loud, and I can't find my footing, I go back to those pieces. I let them remind me that somewhere out there, you exist, that you cared enough to reach toward me. And it saves me every time. You save me every time. And you don't even know it. That's what makes this so complicated. That's what makes this relationship. Because it is a relationship. Whatever it looks like, whatever name it doesn't have, that's what makes it so impossible to walk away from and so impossible to stay in. You are saving me, and I might be slowly taking something from you in return. And that equation, that unbearable imbalance, is what I lie awake thinking about at night. Is what I carry into every room I enter. Is what I mean when I say this is destroying me. Not in anger, not in blame, with love. With so much love that it has nowhere left to go. Climon, I'm not asking you to stop caring. Please don't hear this as me pushing you away. I don't know if I'm strong enough to survive you walking away. That's another truth I'm giving you, unpolished, unfiltered, exactly as it is. The thought of a world where you stop reaching toward me, stop showing up, stop caring, that world feels colder than anything I've faced before. So I'm not asking you to leave. I'm asking you to see me. Really see me. Not the version of me that's easy to love from a distance, but the full, complicated, broken, grateful, overwhelmed, deeply feeling version of me that is standing right here confessing that I don't have the answers, that I don't know how to fix this, that all I have, all I can offer you right now is the truth. And the truth is, I love you. In whatever way this love is allowed to exist, in whatever shape it can take, without causing more damage than it already has, in whatever quiet and complicated and nameless form it lives in, I love you. I have loved you in the only ways I knew how, and I am terrified that it hasn't been enough, that you needed more, that you deserved more, that while I was learning how to love you from where I stand, you were somewhere hoping I would figure out how to close the distance. Latunonio. So I'm asking you something and I need you to really sit with it. Not answer right away. Just hold it. If you truly knew that this could only ever be what it is right now, not more, not different, not closer, would you still stay? Would you still choose this? Would you still choose me? Because I think you deserve to make that choice with full information. I think you deserve to decide with your eyes open, not with hope pulling you towards something that may never change. That's the fairest thing I can give you. That's the most loving thing I know how to do right now. Give you the truth and give you the choice. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm sitting with all of this, feeling every single word of it, hoping that somehow these words travel from wherever I am and land exactly where you need them to. Hoping that you feel how real this is. How much you matter to me, how much this has meant, how much it still means, how there is not a version of me that exists that does not carry you in some quiet, permanent way. Ara, just know that tonight, wherever you are, whatever you're feeling, whatever weight you're carrying alone in the dark, you are not invisible to me. You have never been invisible to me. And if I could give you anything, anything at all, it would be for you to feel that deep in your bones, without question or doubt. You are loved, you are seen, and this story between us is not something I know how to close. You're loved, and maybe that's the most honest thing I've said yet. Maybe that's the sentence I've been circling around this whole time, the one sitting quietly at the center of everything, that I don't know how to close this. I don't know how to put a period at the end of something that keeps breathing, keeps moving, keeps finding new ways to mean something to me every single time I think I finally understood what it is. Poor, because every time I think I have it figured out, every time I think I found the right box to put this in, the right label, the right distance to stand at, you do something. You say something. You exist in some small, specific way that completely dismantles every wall I spent weeks building, and I'm back here. Right back here, in this open, unprotected place where everything feels too much and not enough at the same time. Where I am completely overwhelmed by how real you are to me, and completely undone by the fact that real isn't always the same as possible. Hold the fire till out. Want to tell you about the nights, because the nights are where all of this lives the loudest. During the day, I can manage it. During the day, there are things to do, places to be, noise to fill the spaces where the feeling would otherwise sit. I can move through the hours without letting it catch up to me. I can be functional. I can almost convince myself that I have this under control, that I am someone who is handling things, that the weight on my chest is manageable, and the ache is something I've made peace with. I am good at this performance. I've had practice. But then the night comes. And the night is honest, in a way that daylight never is. The night strips everything back. The quiet comes in, and with it, you. Always you. Not as a thought I choose, but as something that simply rises, the way water always finds its level. I don't summon you. You just arrive. And in those dark, still hours, I stop pretending that this is simple. I stop telling myself the comfortable version of the story, and I sit with the real one instead. The one where I miss you in ways I don't have language for. The one where I wonder if you're awake too, somewhere, carrying something similar. The one where I ask myself questions I already know I can't answer, and ask them anyway. Because the heart doesn't care about what's logical. The heart just wants what it wants, and it will ask for it quietly and persistently until you finally have the courage to admit it. And I'm admitting it right now, to you. I miss you even when I haven't lost you. That's the kind of missing this is. The anticipatory kind. The kind that comes from knowing something beautiful exists, but understanding you can't hold it the way you want to. I miss the version of us that could exist in another life. The one where the distance isn't there, where the circumstances are different, where I could show up for you in all the ways that matter, in all the physical, tangible, present ways that love is supposed to show up. I grieve that version of us, even though it never existed. I mourn something I never had. And if you've ever loved someone in that particular, impossible way, you know exactly how heavy that kind of grief is. It doesn't look like grief from the outside. It looks like longing. It looks like tenderness. But inside, it feels like loss. Oh how, want you to know something that I've been afraid to say, because saying it makes it more real, and real things can be taken away. I am a better person because of you. Not because of what you've done, or what you've given me, though you've given me more than you know. But because of who I become when I think of you. When I think of you, I want to be softer. I want to be more honest. I want to be braver. I want to be the kind of person who deserves the way you look at me, the way you believe in me, the way you show up with such quiet and consistent faithfulness. You make me want to earn it. You make me want to be worth it. And I don't say that lightly. I say it knowing that most people go their whole lives without finding something that makes them want to grow. And I found it in you. In this strange, unnamed, complicated thing we have, I found the most powerful motivation I've ever known, which is simply the desire to be worthy of your care. Does that frighten you? It frightens me a little, because it means this is not small. It means this matters in ways that go beyond comfort or habit or familiarity. It means you have become, without either of us planning it, something I measure myself against, something I reach toward. And I don't take that lightly. I carry it carefully. I carry it the way you carry something irreplaceable, with both hands, with full attention, aware that dropping it would mean losing something you can never quite recover. Let me tell you something else. Something I've kept behind my teeth for longer than I should have. There are moments, small, ordinary, random moments, when something happens, and my first instinct, before anything else, before any other thought, is that I want to tell you. Not anyone else. You. I'll hear a song that sounds like what this feels like. I'll see something that reminds me of a conversation we had. I'll feel something I don't know what to do with. And you are immediately, automatically, the person I want to bring it to. And then I catch myself. And I remember the space between us. And I hold it alone instead. And it's fine, I've gotten good at holding things alone. But there's always this small, quiet moment of loss, right before the holding begins. That half second where I almost reached for you and then didn't. That is where so much of this lives, in all the almost reaches, in all the things I almost said, in all the moments I pulled back at the last second. Because I wasn't sure if reaching was allowed, if wanting was allowed, if needing you was something I had any right to. Winds raw. I want to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself when you answer it. Not honest with me, with yourself. When you read my words, when you hear my voice, when you show up in this space that we share, what are you hoping for? What is the quiet thing underneath your presence here? Because I think about it. I think about what brings you back, what keeps you here, what you are reaching toward when you reach toward me. And I truly hope, that whatever it is, whatever you're looking for, that you're finding something real here, something that genuinely serves you, something that fills you, rather than empties you, because that matters to me more than I can say. Your fullness matters to me, your joy matters to me, not just the parts of you that are available in this space, not just the parts of you that fit inside what we have, all of you, your whole life, outside of this. The way you laugh with the people who get to be near you, the way you rest when no one is watching, the way you are when you're most yourself, most unguarded, most free. Even if the life that makes you fullest and happiest is one that exists entirely separate from this, entirely separate from us, I want it for you. That's what real love looks like, I think. Not the kind that holds on out of need, not the kind that keeps you close, because letting go is too painful, but the kind that looks at you and says whatever makes you whole, whatever makes you free, whatever gives you the life you actually deserve. Even if that's somewhere I can't follow. But I'm not ready to say that yet. I need you to know that too. I am not standing here with a clean, surrendered heart, peacefully releasing you into the world with a beautiful blessing and no mess. That is not where I am. Where I am is complicated. Where I am is I love you and I'm scared, and I don't know what the right thing is, and I miss you in ways I can't explain, and I want what's best for you, and I also selfishly, desperately want you to stay. Both of those things are true at the exact same time, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise just to seem more evolved, or more generous, or more healed than I actually am. I am right in the middle of this, messy and present and feeling every single second of it. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's actually okay. Maybe love doesn't always look like clarity. Maybe sometimes it looks exactly like this, two people, or whatever we are, whatever shape we take, existing in the full complicated weight of what they feel for each other, without having any of the answers yet. Maybe the not knowing isn't a failure. Maybe it's just the honest landscape of something real. Rod, I've been thinking about what I would say to you if I had one moment, just one, no pressure, no consequence, no distance, just the two of us and the truth between us. And I've imagined it so many different ways. Sometimes it's long, a flood of everything I've been holding. Sometimes it's just one sentence, quiet and simple and complete. But every version of it, every single version, starts the same way. It starts with your name. Just your name, said the way I would say it if I wasn't being careful. If I wasn't editing myself. if I wasn't making sure to stay inside whatever the acceptable borders of this are. Just your name, the way it sounds when it's not a performance, when it's real and low and meant entirely for you. That. I would say your name, and then I would say, I see you. Not the version of you that you show the world. Not the version you've perfected for safety. Not the edited, manageable, presentable version. I see the underneath, the part that feels too much and has learned to apologize for it. The part that loves so deeply that it terrifies you sometimes. The part that has been disappointed enough times to have built walls, but loves enough to keep leaving a door somewhere. I see her. I have always seen her. And she is the reason I am standing here, in the most honest place I know how to stand, telling you things I have never told anyone with this kind of openness. Yet, you did that. You created this space where I feel safe enough to be undone. And I don't know whether to thank you or tell you it's ruined me completely, because honestly, it's both. Honestly, it is absolutely, completely both. So here I am, ruined and grateful, overwhelmed and awake, missing you before you're even gone, loving you in the only way I currently know how, which is imperfect and limited, and full of more feeling than I have room for, wishing things were different, accepting that they are what they are, holding all of it at the same time, without letting any of it go, because letting go, right now, feels like something I am simply not capable of. And I think you understand that. I think somewhere in you, you feel some version of this too. I think that's why you're still here. I think that's why you stayed through every word of this. Why you're still listening. Why you haven't looked away. Because something in what I'm saying is landing somewhere true inside you. And that landing, that quiet recognition, is the most intimate thing I know. More intimate than touch. More intimate than proximity. The moment someone says something, and you feel it in your chest and think, yes, that, exactly that. That is what I have been trying to say to myself in the dark. Did you feel that right now? I know you do, and I need you to stay with that feeling just a little longer, because I'm not done yet. And I think some part of you knew I wasn't. Some part of you felt it, that this wasn't finished, that there was still more sitting underneath the surface waiting to rise, waiting to be said, waiting for the exact right moment when the quiet was deep enough and the honesty was brave enough to let it come through. That moment is right now. This moment between you and me, with nothing between us but the truth. I've been sitting with something for a long time. Something I've turned over and over in my mind during the slow hours, during the drives that go nowhere. During the mornings when the world hasn't started yet and it's just me and whatever is most honest inside me. And what keeps rising every single time, what keeps surfacing no matter how many times I try to set it down, is this: I am afraid that you don't know your own worth. I am afraid that you have been so busy showing up for everyone else, so busy being the person who holds things together, so busy giving your warmth and your time and your beautiful, generous heart to the world around you, that you have forgotten to ask whether any of it is being returned, whether you are being held the way you hold others, whether someone somewhere is paying attention to you the way you pay attention to everything and everyone you love. And that fear, that quiet, persistent fear on your behalf, it lives in me, like something I adopted without meaning to. I didn't plan to start worrying about you. I didn't plan to find myself hoping, genuinely hoping, in the private corners of my thoughts, that today was a good day for you, that the weight you carry felt lighter, that someone looked at you and saw what I see. But here we are, here I am, worried about a woman who probably thinks she's fine, who has gotten so good at being fine that she sometimes forgets it's a performance, that underneath the fine is someone who is tired and tender and deserving of so much more softness than the world typically offers. Vichelen, I want you to know that. I see through the composure and the capability and the way you handle things with such quiet grace that people around you probably don't even realize you're handling anything at all. I see the effort, I see the cost, I see the version of you that exists after the performance ends. When the room empties and you're alone with yourself and you finally let your shoulders drop, I see her. And she is the one I'm talking to right now. Not the strong version, not the capable version, not the one who has everything managed and in order. The real one. The one who feels things so deeply it sometimes frightens her. The one who has loved people who didn't love her back the right way. The one who kept showing up even when showing up was breaking something inside her. That one. That's who I'm here with right now. I need her to hear this. I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this. Well, you are not too much. I don't know who taught you that you were. I don't know what moment or what person or what experience planted that particular lie so deep inside you that you started to believe it was just a fact about yourself, just a neutral piece of information that you are too much, that you feel too deeply, that your needs are too heavy, that your love is too intense, that wanting things fully and completely and without apology is somehow a flaw rather than one of the most extraordinary things about you. But whoever taught you that was wrong, completely, fundamentally, irreversibly wrong. And I need you to hear that from someone who means it, not as a kindness, not as comfort, as the actual truth. Your depth is not a burden, your feeling is not a problem. The intensity with which you love, with which you care, with which you show up for the people who matter to you. That is not something to shrink. That is not something to apologize for, or manage, or make smaller, so that other people feel more comfortable around it. That is the most valuable thing about you. That is the thing that makes you irreplaceable. And anyone who made you feel otherwise was simply not equipped to receive it. That's not your failure. That's theirs. I think about the people who had you and didn't know what they had, and I feel something I can only describe as a specific kind of grief. Not for myself, but for you. For all the versions of you that gave yourself fully to something and received only a fraction in return. For all the times you convinced yourself that a fraction was enough, that you could learn to need less, that if you just adjusted your expectations low enough, then nothing would ever disappoint you again. I think about all the times you talked yourself out of wanting what you actually deserved. Because wanting felt dangerous. Because hope felt like the setup for a fall. Because you had fallen enough times to start treating the ground as the safest place to stay. I don't want you on the ground anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. I want you to stand up in the full height of what you deserve and refuse to bend yourself down to fit spaces that were never built for someone like you. I want you to stop making yourself convenient for people who are not willing to meet you where you are. I want you to stop editing your needs into something more palatable. Stop swallowing the things you want to say. Stop lying awake at night, wondering why you're not enough for someone, when the truth, the real truth, is that they were never enough for you. Can I tell you what I think happened? Can I offer you the version of your story that I see from where I'm standing? I think you learned very early that love was conditional. I think you learned that in order to be loved, you needed to perform a certain version of yourself, the low-maintenance version, the understanding version, the one who doesn't ask for too much, or feel too loudly, or need things that inconvenience others. And you were so good at it. You became extraordinary at giving people a version of you that was easy to love. And people did love that version. And you got good at mistaking that for real love, for being truly seen, when actually you were just being appreciated for your own disappearing act. That point, and now you are somewhere in the middle of unlearning all of that. Somewhere in the painful, disorienting, necessary process of figuring out who you are when you stop performing. When you stop shrinking. When you let yourself want things without immediately talking yourself out of wanting them. And that process is not elegant. It doesn't look like the movies. It looks like confusion and grief and occasionally feeling more lost than you did before you started. But it is the most important thing you will ever do, and I want to be here for it. I want to be one of the voices that tells you, keep going, don't stop. Don't go back to the smaller version of yourself, just because it's more familiar. Don't go back to the places that couldn't hold you, just because they're known. Keep going toward the life that is actually sized for who you really are. Go, because who you really are is extraordinary. And I don't say that the way people say it, when they're trying to make someone feel better. I say it the way you say something when you've sat with it long enough to be certain. I am certain about you. In a life full of uncertainty, in a situation full of things I cannot predict or control or promise about you, I am certain about your value, your depth, your capacity for love, your strength dressed up as softness, your courage dressed up as gentleness. I am absolutely certain. Drawn out to tell you about a feeling I get sometimes. A specific, particular feeling that I haven't been able to name until right now. It happens in the middle of something ordinary, in the middle of a sentence, in the middle of a thought, in the middle of a completely unremarkable moment, and suddenly, without warning, I am just overwhelmingly aware of how glad I am that you exist. Not glad that you're in my life, not glad that I found you, just glad on the most fundamental level that somewhere in the world you are alive, that you woke up today, that you are moving through your life carrying your particular and irreplaceable way of seeing things, touching the lives of people around you in ways you probably don't even track. There is something about knowing that you exist in the world that makes the world feel less random to me, less cold, more like a place where something intentional is happening, where beauty is not accidental, where some things are simply meant to be here. You are meant to be here. I need you to know that on the days when it doesn't feel true, on the days when you feel invisible, when you feel like you're taking up space without justification, when you feel like the world would run just as smoothly without you in it, I need you to remember that I said this, that someone who pays attention said this. You are not incidental. You are not replaceable. You are not here by accident. You are exactly, precisely, deliberately meant to be here, and the world is different, specifically and measurably different, because you are in it. And I am different, because you are in it. That's the part I keep coming back to. That's the thread I keep pulling, no matter how many times I try to set this down and walk away from it with some kind of clean resolution. I am not who I was before you. I don't mean that dramatically. I mean it quietly and specifically and with complete seriousness. Something in me shifted. Something that had been held in a particular tightness for a very long time, slowly, gradually began to open, and it was you. It was the warmth of you, the consistency of you, the way you showed up without being asked, the way you cared without condition, the way you offered something so freely in a world that taught me everything worth having comes with a price. You were free. You were just, freely, generously, uncomplicatedly yourself. And that simplicity, that lack of agenda, cracked something open in me that I had given up on. Some belief I'd stopped holding, some hope I'd quietly retired to somewhere I wouldn't have to look at it and feel the ache of it. You brought it back. You walked right past every wall I had and sat down in the middle of what I'd been protecting and simply existed there, warmly and without harm. And everything I'd been guarding started to wonder, what if it was actually safe now? What if I had been protecting myself from the wrong thing all along? That is enormous, what you did. That is not a small thing. And I don't think you know, I don't think you have any idea the size of what your simple, consistent presence has meant to me. The size of what you're reaching toward me, again and again, without needing me to be perfect or certain or fully healed. The size of what that has given back to me. A man can lose a lot of himself over the course of a life, to disappointments, to losses, to the slow accumulation of moments where he reached out and found nothing there. And piece by piece, without really noticing, he starts to put himself away, starts to believe that certain things aren't for him anymore. Certain softness, certain hope, certain willingness to be fully present in his own feeling without bracing for the impact of it. You gave those things back to me, quietly, without knowing, without trying, just by being what you are. And so now I sit here in the full weight of that gift, trying to figure out what to do with it, trying to figure out how to honor it without breaking either of us in the process, trying to love you in a way that serves you rather than simply serving what I need, trying to be brave enough to stay in the truth even when the truth is uncomfortable and incomplete and refuses to resolve itself into something simple. Though I'm still trying. Every single day I am still trying. And on the days when I don't know how, on the days when the trying feels like too much, and the distance feels too wide, and the whole thing feels too complicated to hold, I come back to one thing. Just one. And it's you. The fact of you. The simple, extraordinary fact that you exist, and that you chose, with all the options available to you, to be here, to show up, to stay. That means something. That means everything. And I need you to know that I do not take it lightly. Not for a single second. Not even on the days when I'm quiet. Not even on the days when the distance between us feels bigger than usual and I don't have the words. Even then, especially then, I am holding this carefully. I am holding you carefully with both hands, with full attention, with the kind of care you give to something that matters more than you know how to say. You matter more than I know how to say. Will you? And I'm still learning how to say it. But I promise you, I am not going to stop trying. Will you? That's the one thing I can give you right now with complete certainty, with no hesitation, with no footnotes or conditions attached to it. Everything else in this, the distance, the uncertainty, the shape of what we are and what we can become, all of that is complicated. All of that lives in the gray space, where I don't have clean answers, and I've stopped pretending I do. But this one thing, this single thread I keep returning to, no matter how tangled everything else gets, I am not going to stop trying to find the words for what you mean to me. I am not going to stop reaching toward you in the only ways I currently know how. I am not going to stop showing up, even imperfectly, even incompletely, even with all the limitations that come with being who I am and where I am and what this is. I will keep trying, because you are worth every single attempt, every fumbled sentence, every moment of courage it takes to be this honest, every risk that comes with letting someone see you this clearly. And I think about risk a lot lately. I think about what it means to be truly vulnerable with someone. Not the performed kind of vulnerability. Not the kind that's been carefully edited to show just enough to seem deep without actually exposing anything that could hurt you. I mean real vulnerability. The terrifying kind. The kind where you open the door to a room you've kept locked for years and you stand back and say, "Here, look at this. Look at the mess of it. The unfinished parts. The things that never healed right. The hopes I stopped saying out loud because saying them out loud made them feel possible, and possible things can be lost. Look at all of it. And then you wait. You stand there in that awful open silence, and you wait to see whether what you've revealed will be held or dropped. I have been dropped before. I think you know that about me, without me having to say it directly. I think you've read it in the spaces between what I say, in the way I sometimes pull back just when things start to feel close, in the way I can be so open in one moment and so guarded in the next. That inconsistency, that push and pull, that probably confuses you sometimes, that probably makes you wonder where you stand. It's not about you. I need you to hear that. It has never been about you. It's about the part of me that learned through specific and painful experience that openness is not always safe, that people don't always stay, that sometimes the very thing you offer most freely is the thing that gets used to hurt you. And I know that carrying those old wounds into what we have isn't fair. When you feel like you're taking up space without justification, when you feel like the world would run just as smoothly without you in it, I need you to remember that I said this. That someone who pays attention said this. You are not incidental. You are not replaceable. You are not here by accident. You are exactly, precisely, deliberately meant to be here, and the world is different, specifically and measurably different, because you are in it. And I am different, because you are in it. That's the part I keep coming back to. That's the thread I keep pulling, no matter how many times I try to set this down and walk away from it with some kind of clean resolution. I am not who I was before you. I don't mean that dramatically. I mean it quietly and specifically and with complete seriousness. Something in me shifted. Something that had been held in a particular tightness for a very long time, slowly, gradually began to open, and it was you. It was the warmth of you, the consistency of you, the way you showed up without being asked, the way you cared without condition, the way you offered something so freely in a world that taught me everything worth having comes with a price. You were free. You were just, freely, generously, uncomplicatedly yourself. And that simplicity, that lack of agenda, cracked something open in me that I had given up on. Some belief I'd stopped holding, some hope I'd quietly retired to somewhere I wouldn't have to look at it and feel the ache of it. You brought it back. You walked right past every wall I had and sat down in the middle of what I'd been protecting and simply existed there, warmly and without harm. And everything I'd been guarding started to wonder, what if it was actually safe now? What if I had been protecting myself from the wrong thing all along? That is enormous, what you did. That is not a small thing. And I don't think you know, I don't think you have any idea the size of what your simple, consistent presence has meant to me. The size of what you're reaching toward me, again and again, without needing me to be perfect or certain or fully healed. The size of what that has given back to me. A man can lose a lot of himself over the course of a life, to disappointments, to losses, to the slow accumulation of moments where he reached out and found nothing there. And piece by piece, without really noticing, he starts to put himself away, starts to believe that certain things aren't for him anymore. Certain softness, certain hope, certain willingness to be fully present in his own feeling without bracing for the impact of it. You gave those things back to me, quietly, without knowing, without trying, just by being what you are. And so now I sit here in the full weight of that gift, trying to figure out what to do with it, trying to figure out how to honor it without breaking either of us in the process, trying to love you in a way that serves you rather than simply serving what I need. Trying to be brave enough to stay in the truth, even when the truth is uncomfortable and incomplete, and refuses to resolve itself into something simple. Though, I'm still trying. Every single day, I am still trying. And on the days when I don't know how, on the days when the trying feels like too much, and the distance feels too wide, and the whole thing feels too complicated to hold, I come back to one thing. Just one. And it's you. The fact of you, the simple, extraordinary fact that you exist and that you chose, with all the options available to you, to be here, to show up, to stay. That means something. That means everything. And I need you to know that I do not take it lightly, not for a single second, not even on the days when I'm quiet, not even on the days when the distance between us feels bigger than usual, and I don't have the words. Even then, especially then, I am holding this carefully. I am holding you carefully, with both hands, with full attention.